Hey, Georgia Traders, it's Samantha here from Revive Living, and today we're going to go over some work from home tips for those of you who have been able to transfer to working from home at this time. And the first tip, get dressed each morning. I am ready to work. But seriously, when you are transitioning to working from home for the first time, and maybe you have worked partially from home, but now you're home all the time, getting dressed first thing in the morning is huge, from getting you out of that I'm at home, I'm chilling vibe, to being ready, focusing your mind to get work done, because none of us want to be working all day long kind of half-heartedly. We want to wake up, we want to get to work, and we want to be able to turn it off at some point. And I think that's the biggest thing. Working from home can make you feel like you're on all the time. You have your laptop there, you have your phone, you have Slack channels, we're connected. And so when you're at home, it can be really hard to turn it off. So this first video is really just sharing these 5 tips to just kind of give you the lay of the land of how do you start going about transitioning to working from home. And the second part of this video is going to be really about how do you keep focus throughout the day. I feel like if we combine those two, this video would just be epically long. So we're breaking those into. So the second tip to work from home is really start to create your sense of routine. Now, again, I'm speaking broadly because each one of our circumstances are 100% different. I'm an entrepreneur, and so I have full freedom over how my days get scheduled. You may not have full freedom, or you may have partial freedom. So really take what you can from these tips, apply it to your situation, and just experiment, really see what you can create with it. But when you are shifting to now working from home, you have a new routine. Maybe you have a partner at home, you have kids at home, you have other people other than just you. And so you really have to work together to create a new routine. Structure equals productivity. I think sometimes we can feel like it's too rigid. I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. I just want to free flow throughout my day. Amazing. And having little benchmarks of what you're doing when will really help you keep on track and focus. And then that way you don't get to the end of the day, feel like you've worked and been on all day, yet you don't really know what you have to show for it. So the first thing to do is really set up that routine. And so what you'll want to do is think through, what are the needs of my household throughout the day? And it could just be you, it could be other people in your home, but what are the needs of your household, and what is the support that you have to make it happen? So that way you can really brainstorm together to find solutions of what are your needs, what needs to be done when, and who can do it. So that way if you're at work and someone else is free, there's collaboration there, and vice versa. When you think of your routine, you want to think through AM, noon, PM. So first thing in the morning, what's that little bit of structure that you can put to your morning that's going to help you feel good, get your mind right, your body right before you step into work mode? One of the biggest tips I can share is to not check your email, Instagram, anything on your phone for a minimum of the first half hour of the day. Again, you're working from home, you're on, I can just check it from bed. Oh, work from home perks. It's great if you're working home for a week, but if you're working home for a foreseeable future, or you're transitioning where now you get to work from home full time, that whole half-heart in bed working, nip it in the bud as quickly as you can, because when you check your phone first thing in the morning, your nervous system, it just starts to get stressed. And right now there's so much media that stresses us out. Do yourself a favor and just put a hard stop on checking your phone first thing in the morning. Focus on drinking water, moving your body, reading something, journaling, breathing, anything along those lines, taking a walk outside with the dog, sitting, having conversation with your partner, your family, your fur babies over coffee. Again, what is that just little bit of structure in the morning to give you some peace and quiet time to yourself? Or maybe it's not peace and quiet, but it's time personally before you have to step into work mode for somebody else. And then you want to think about noon. When am I stopping for lunch? Again, it's easy to just work through the whole day because you don't have those natural breaks and rhythm with coworkers around. You don't have that natural rhythm, so you really need to create that on your own. So when are you breaking for lunch? Does that look like a walk at lunchtime? Like, what does your lunch hour, half hour, 15 minutes, like what does that look like for you, and why is it important? And that next piece is the PM piece. When is a hard stop for you at the end of the day? That way, again, you know from these hours, from this time to this time, I'm showing up. I'm focusing, I'm working. Yes, there's gonna be distractions, which is why the next video is all about focus. But that way you have that little bit of a container that you can focus your mind to work, and then you can turn it off. You can put the laptop away, set it aside, and have that quiet time in the evening for family activities, lounging, working out, whatever you want. So step 2, create your new routine. Be compassionate with yourself. If this is brand spanking new to you, just be explorative, be curious, and really just be easy on yourself, because there's so many other dynamics other than just switching to working from home to consider right now. Step 3 is that to set up your workspace. Again, speaking broadly, if you work and live in a studio apartment like my very first apartment was in San Diego, it was less than like 400 square feet, so I'm trying to put myself there. So if you are working from home, living from home, if you're doing school at home, if like everything is at home, I think one of our very first inclinations is to just take the laptop and move it with us in different parts of the house throughout the day. But I strongly encourage you to create just one specific work area. And that could mean one specific work area, one specific school area. And if you do have that small of a space that you're working with, that's where you have your designated area. And what's like 1 degree of separation? Is that lighting a candle when you do your schoolwork? Is that just changing one little decor item that helps you give it that break of, oh, I'm working right now. Oh, I'm in school right now. Even if you're in the same exact spot, how can you get creative with it to give you an air of differentiation? The reason this is important, especially you don't want to be working from your bed. You really want to keep your bedroom or your bed area sacred for sleep, so that way you don't associate the two. So when you're laying in bed, you're focused on rest, relaxation, getting some deep, nourishing sleep versus, emails, appointments, webinars, meetings. You want to create a line of separation there. And in that way, your whole house doesn't become work. You have that one area that you go to. If you need a break, you step away, and when you're ready, you go back. But that is the third tip, is to really create your workspace. And even if it is temporary right now, make it comfortable. I think a big thing we think is like, oh, it's temporary, so I can just kind of like throw this together, but then we're not as productive. So take a moment to see like, what is the workspace you need to set up that's comfortable, that draws you in, but that's also its own little nook so you can step away and come back to it versus feeling like your entire work home is becoming interconnected. There was a point for my last job where I was working from home. I've been working home full time for the last 5 years now. And there was a point where I was working 60 to 100 hours a week. So I had 14 to 18 hour days, and I'd wake up, I'd answer emails in bed, I'd essentially be falling asleep at my computer, walk to the other room, crash, wake up, repeat. That is so not what we want to create here, but from that extreme, I was able to really learn a lot. So when I wasn't in that extreme, I could set up boundaries. Which leads us to step number 4, is communicate your boundaries. Particularly if there are other people that live in your household, you need to communicate when you are not to be disturbed. That could be one phone call or meeting a day, the first hour in the morning, the last hour in the evening. It doesn't mean like mom or dad is in work mode for 8 hours, don't come talk to me. Especially if you have kids, if you have multiple people home, that can be extremely difficult right now. So again, what are those most important points for you throughout the day that you want to create a boundary around, and how can you communicate that to those in your household so you get full buy-in, everyone's on board, everyone gets to kind of create their boundary of what they need to feel their best each day, and you can have teamwork in that. but that all that is it's communicating your needs and setting an expectation, so that way there's no unspoken expectation and then you get really frustrated when someone breaks the boundary that you didn't communicate. So that is step 4, create and communicate your boundaries. And the last tip for today is to turn off distractions. So I think when you start working from home at first, it's like, oh, cool, like I can have Netflix on in the background, the news, I can have YouTube playing on another monitor, or like a little side, I can have my coworker chat going ham. And I'd really just encourage you to notice what are distractions in your household and seeing how you can turn them off. So that way you can create those little silos of focus, and then you can come back and out of it. So you're in for 50 minutes, you pull back, you watch a 3-minute, 5-minute YouTube video, you go check on people, you come back, you focus your attention, and you dive in. But the more distractions that are going on, the longer you'll be working and the less you'll get done. So really identify your distractions and turn them off so you can really create a efficient and focused workplace, even in your home when everything is kind of fluctuating and just different. These are hopefully 5 tips that you can start to take, apply to your life, and create a little bit of structure, routine, and ultimately ease, so that way this time that we're all working from home can be a little bit easier for you. If you have any questions or specific challenges that you're dealing with, please post them below, so that way I can either respond in the comments or include it in my next video and give you a little bit more specific support to whatever you're being challenged with. But sending you love and big hugs and just all the high fives, because we gotta kind of pat ourselves on the back since coworkers aren't there throughout the day. All right, I will see you in the next video, and I can't wait to see how you apply these tips.